Hello.
Hello, I'm just getting myself together here. I'm terrible with Zoom meetings, so give me a moment.
I'm a teacher. I was never good at them.
I'm going to press start video. There we are.
We
Let me
go.
just get the sun's coming in brightly here, so I'm going to put on my cool guy shades.
Nice. We have the opposite problem. There's no sun here today,
Oh, bummer.
but it's been a nice
Well,
summer
hi.
overall. So, hi.
Hi,
Great to meet
Dwayne.
you.
Yeah, same here. Nice to meet you. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, thank you. So this is to tell you my idea here is I want to talk about Sea Dog,
Hmm.
um, Lowdown, and then what you're doing now. I did get to listen
Great.
to a few songs of all your current stuff, and what I'm doing is writing a book about 80s music, Canadian 80s music, songs that made the charts, those that didn't, and so forth. And Lowdown did really well on the adult contemporary charts. I found as I was going through
Yes.
RPM charts. So but let's start with Sea Dog because that's where it began. It looks like for you. I got to listen to a lot of that stuff recently,
Yeah.
and really love that late '60s, early '70s psychedelic blues vibe to it overall. And yet the music's so different that I think it hit more than just that genre, but it really felt that way. So let's talk about Sea Dog.
Okay, Sea Dog, I joined in 1970. The band had a different name then. I had joined a sort of an existing band called Oat Family, but the only person who remained in that band was the drummer. So after a little while, we felt like we weren't that band anymore, and we were looking for a new name. Sea Dog came up. We became Sea Dog after that and started putting out singles. And in 19, we had three singles through 1970, and then into 19 end of 1971, we recorded our one and only album. And had some more songs released from there. The album did pretty well. It was a time, Dwayne, when if you had an album out, then you were somebody. uh, People would hire your band because you actually had an album, right? So it was a different time from now, that's for sure. And we toured across Canada. Uh, the main band that was the album band had three really strong singer songwriters in the band. Paul Weston played guitar and sang. John Redmond played keyboards and sang, and I also played keyboards then. I wasn't a guitar player until, I don't know, the 90s, I guess, the 80s later. So yeah, I was between the three of us, we all wrote and sang, and we came up with the material for that album. And it was a little too diverse for a lot of people in the business. They thought, well, you guys are all over the map. Like, what are you trying to do? But we thought we were great. We said, well, the Beatles can do that. Why can't we? So
It's funny you
that's
say that because the album is so diverse, and
yeah,
it reminds me. I grew up in the '80s, and the Northern Pikes from Saskatoon had three singers,
yeah.
and you listen to one of their albums, and it's all over the place, from country to pop rock to almost hard rock. And I felt the same way with your guys' album. Some straight rock songs, some blues feel, a little bit of psychedelia, and I mean, yeah, I kind of like the Beatles when they were experimenting in the late '60s. My favorite
Well,
song of it is it's not from the album, it's a 40 a single. It's not it's a Hot Night.
oh,
I think you
thanks.
wrote
Yeah,
that one,
that's my
right?
song. Yeah, yeah.
Tell me about that
I wrote
song.
it when I was 17. Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks. Yeah, that song lingers on. I don't play it in any shows or anything these days, but every now and then I'll get a message from somebody saying, "Oh, I remember that song. Yeah, you played on the radio, and I was living in some crappy apartment, and it was really hot that summer, and it really, it spoke to me, or something like that." And it's pretty cool to think that something that you did a long time ago actually means something to somebody. That's great.
And so you wrote that when you were 17. Was it just a song you just wrote on the whim? Was there some motivation to it? How'd it come about?
It was pretty straightforward, really. I was in a very hot room in the band house, and I just wrote what was going on. You know, it was a hot night. Actually, yeah, the lyrics I had was, you know, it's a hot night. The air won't move. It's a hot night. And I had no next line. And one of the guys in the band said, "Oh, I'm thinking of you." And I went, "Oh, okay. Well, we used that." And yeah, it actually made a lot of sense. Yeah, and off we went. We just put the song together, and there it went. Yeah, there were two different versions of that song too, by Sea Dog. We did the first version, which seemed to be the most popular, and then record producer. We worked with Ralph Murphy, who did all the April Wine stuff as well. Ralph. Took us to New York and we did two songs there. We redid It's a Hot Night and we did another one of my songs, Holding Your Hand, with more lush orchestration and congas and stuff all over it. It was cool though. They were both good versions.
Well, it's interesting because the other like holding hands with your song too. I wasn't sure. I couldn't find that when I was looking for it, but
Oh
that
yeah.
was a very different song, and that one actually charted on the RPM charts. Um,
Yeah, that is another song that some people seem to really remember. I mean, it's certainly not you know, like a big hit that everybody knows, but it's pretty cool just to get reactions from people who, you know, remember it from when it was out and go, "Oh man, I love that song." You know, oh, how nice. Yeah, both, you know, pretty straightforward. I was just writing what I was feeling, you know, like holding your hand. I was imagining having a girlfriend and walking on the beach and, you know, enjoying the sunshine and just being together. So, like they say, write what you know.
well, it's funny that you say that because it transitions us to the next part. So, Sea Dog had a couple singles that charted, and the
Yep.
album that charted, and then
Yep.
when Lowdown came, as far as I can tell, most of it was independently released. Except I don't know if
Yes.
the album was too, but mostly was independent released. And
Yeah.
an interesting shift from Sea Dog. So tell us about how Lowdown came about.
Okay. In between Sea Dog and Lowdown, I'll just give you the brief synopsis. I played in a bunch of bands that mostly just played bars and traveled around Ontario, which was something that Sea Dog didn't do. We played concerts and shows, that kind of thing. So then I turned into just a bar band guy for about 5 years, I guess, and um, towards the end of that, I was in a band called Stutz, and we were out of London. We I wrote some songs for Stutz, and we recorded them. Um, they got some interest. I almost got signed to Aquarius Records as a solo artist right then, which would have been really great, but things fell through at the last minute. Um, and then the Lowdown thing just kind of came out of the blue. I was actually still trying to finish up this album for Aquarius, and I got a phone call from this guy in London who had said, "How about you come and play guitar in this pop trio that we have? It's all, you know, Beach Boys and fun, high energy vocal stuff like that." And it pays really well. So I said, well, I could really use a music gig that pays well. And off I went, and it was great. We were all family guys. I was just beginning my family, and the other guys had kids already. And we played all around Ontario, more than anything, Southern Ontario, within about a 3 mile or 300 mile radius of London. And we played every weekend at dances for different organizations. And we were just a high energy cover band that played all 60s music. We played Beach Boys and Beatles and, you know, anything that was fun and happy and had a lot of vocals in it, we did. And that it was a great band. We really gelled and we sang together really well. All three guys sang very strong. Um, and after about a year, I guess, of being together, maybe even less, I said, well, you know, we should be putting out some records. And we started doing that. And I was doing the writing for that. So sorry, I'm running on here, but I'm
No,
trying to
no,
give you.
that's what these are. I just like, you tell a story and it goes, and that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that because what I found interesting is that you had so many singles that charted really high on adult contemporary, even though a
Yeah,
couple of them to me are quite rocking, and I'm like, adult contemporary confuses me a little bit sometimes. But the biggest,
yeah,
you had a number one single with "Give Me Some," so that was
yes.
the first one.
That was a really popular tune. Yeah. Um, uh, I don't really know what to tell you about it. It was just a really good pop song. The producer we started working with those sessions that became our first album, Declan O'Doherty, was a really great guy to work with. He really helped form the material and get it in shape uh, to get recorded, and he had an awful lot to do with the arrangements and the planning of everything. And he was a super guy. We're still in touch, and he's not really doing much music anymore, but he was very successful with Rita McNeil as well. Declan had a couple of other bands that he worked with that did well. Tokyo Rose. No, that was the name of the song.
Idolize.
Idolize, that's right. He worked with them and somebody else. Anyway, yeah, a very strong, influential musical force to work with. We had a great time, and Declan and I became friends even before then. It was when I was working in Stutz we started working together, and so when we brought him in on the Lowdown stuff, it really made a positive, big difference for us to get airplay and that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm rambling here.
No, there's no rambling here. It's just telling stories. That's very interesting. So
Yeah.
they we'll stick with the slower stuff because before I get to the harder, the more rocking stuff, because "Baby I
Sure.
Know" was the one
Yeah.
I listened to first. And when you
Oh,
tell me now that you were like the Beach Boys vibe and so forth, it makes perfect sense because my summary included a '60s, late '60s summer vibe to it. "Baby I Know" probably had the best harmonies of the songs I listened to from
oh
Lowdown.
yeah.
Just like it works so perfectly to me.
Well, interestingly enough, that was the very first song I wrote for Lowdown, and we recorded our own version. With me producing, and it was pretty underproduced, but it was what we could do at the time. And I kind of wrote it as a Righteous Brothers song for the drummer Brian and myself to sing, because Brian has a real kind of we did a couple of Righteous Brothers songs, and Brian has a higher voice than me. And I thought, well, that would be really fun to have a song that was in that vein. And that's how we did it, until Declan came along and said, well, it'll work better this way. So,
It's good to be able to get a producer. Like, I mean, when I see independent, I kind of assumed you would have a quality producer that could take it there, but it sounds really fresh. Even like maybe I know I sounds like a song that'd be out today. Um,
well, we spent the money. We really did. Declan is first class producer, and he had us work in really good studios. And, we spent as much money on those recordings as a record company would have spent. And we got some money back, so it wasn't like we went broke doing it. But we didn't make a fortune either. But at least we have something that really represents what we were up to at the time, and something you can be proud of even now.
it's funny you should say that because what I've learned a lot while doing this book, I've been doing it for over 2 years now, is how many bands from the '80s would have a good song, but not the record label support behind it. I'm even talking like Randy Bachman when he was playing with a couple of his early '80s bands like Union, right? Like
Yeah.
they'd get early radio success, but then you'd have to do that payola or pay somebody to get to that next level, and it was hard to get to. So
Oh,
were your songs
yeah.
big? Like were your songs bigger in Ontario because that's where you mostly played?
Um, I'm not really sure. I don't know that we really knew much about what was charting. I mean, in the London area, we always got lots of airplay because we were popular local guys. Um, but it seemed to me that across Canada, the MOR, the adult contemporary playlists, if they saw something was going, if a programmer in Saskatoon or, Victoria or something saw something was working well in Ontario, then they'd usually play it. Like they needed good Canadian content material at that time. and they were happy to play it a lot. Somebody else who had a lot of success with that kind of a plan was Rich Dodson from Stampeders.
Hmm.
And I think it was Rich. It's one of the Stampeders. He had
Yeah, it
his
was Rich.
own.
He's on the contemporary list a lot too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And, we kind of looked to his example. We didn't know him or anything, but we continued to see him on the charts all the time. And we went, that guy's doing it right. He's even got his own home studio and he's writing his own songs and he's releasing them. And at the time, you would earn money for having your songs played on the air, like actual money. I remember the first check I got for Gimme Some was around $5,000 or $6,000 for a 6-month period, and my co-writing share of the money that came in was like 37.5% of the total thing. Like there would be 50% for the publishers, which was Lowdown. That's how we were recouping the money to make recordings. And then
Mhm.
the other 50% was myself. And I gave Declan a share of the song too, because he put a fair bit of work into it. So yeah, I got, not even 40%, and I got $6,000 for airplay. In the first 6 months, the song was on the radio. So, people used to make money from that stuff.
Well, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that story. So that independent part is pretty helpful then, because instead of paying a royalty company, the money went back to Lowdown to then produce more records. That was the
Yeah.
cycle concept.
Yeah, we saw it as we were our own record company, and it was promotion for us, and we did end up playing across Canada as well, everywhere from Sydney to Victoria. We played a lot of different venues. Um, because we had some radio presence and that people knew our songs, and we had a bit of a reputation. So that was a good thing. It was good business for us to do it.
Well, so on that note, we'll shift to a couple of the more fast songs, which I feel are more
Yeah.
your style now when I listen to your more current stuff. Like The Girl's Already Gone. Was that a song of
Yes.
yours too?
Yes, and interestingly enough, I had written that song before Lowdown, and I'm not quite sure how it got back into Lowdown. I guess we were just looking for something a little more rocky. I think we were looking to try and get on the regular charts, on the whatever they were called at the time, rock charts or whatever. But we didn't, like the Gimme Some material, and that definitely wouldn't fit. So we were looking for something that had a little more edge. I've always been more of a rock and roll guy than the sort of Gimme Some and Holding Your Hand material. Um, or at least I've always seen myself as that. So it was, for me, I guess it was probably partly me itching to get back to doing something like that, doing something that had a little more edge to it.
I think a song, if you're going tour, you can't have 15 ballads or a slow tempo song. So,
It's
um,
true.
right, a song like that, I just imagine really blazing live. Right, it had a really good
Yeah.
guitar riff and so forth.
Yeah. And that's really, I mean, those were at least partly the purpose of those songs that we did then, whereas, we wanted to kick a little ass.
And so the
Because
last
the band,
song, sorry,
oh,
go ahead.
sorry, I just
No,
wanted to say, and one of the reasons we wanted to do that was because live, with all this cover material we did, even though it was, Beach Boys and whatever, early Beatles and, just kind of early 60s stuff. We had a lot of energy, and we really, it was a pretty dynamic show in terms of, working hard uh, for a crowd. So we wanted to have something that really showed that more, and that was how Girls Already Gone and a couple of other songs came to do that. Yeah.
so
Anyway,
like the other one I really liked was No Doubt About It.
yeah, me too. I think that's one of my favorite songs.
It has a rock feel to it. It also has I hate to say I don't hate to say wrong wording, slight country feel to it. Um,
Definitely,
yeah.
I kind of felt it was like a Creedence Clearwater kind of a song. And I remember a couple of my friends saying, "Well, it's kind of a Dire Straits thing going on in there," and I thought that was like the greatest compliment in the world because I'm a big Mark Knopfler fan. So uh, that was pretty cool to hear. And yeah, I think it's a good song. It's got fun lyrics, and it really it captured a thing for us. And to me, that was probably the best uh, original song that kind of showed what Lowdown was like, because we were fun, we were poppy, but we had a rock edge.
It's awesome. So when Lowdown ended, you had your own band. I saw in 1990 you won an Ontario band contest.
That was Canada, yeah, Canada wide.
Oh,
It was
Canada
called
wide.
Labatt's Blue Band Wars. 1,500 bands were in that, like Battle of the Bands, and they narrowed each area down across Canada, and we were the regional winners, and then we were the Ontario winners, and I think they had five different regions that they drew those people from, like five winners, and then they flew whoever, I guess Labatt's, whoever was running the contest, flew us all out to Vancouver, and we spent the weekend there. Did a pre-show, met with all the video people, and then we all did a short set for the judges, and they were cool. All the cool kids of the day. Kim Mitchell and the drummer from Mountain, and I don't know who else. The drummer from Loverboy. Anyway, a lot of cool people were the judges, and we ended up winning. It was as much of a surprise to me as to anybody.
Well, then I on your website you can actually see the win, and then you guys
Yeah,
performing a track, which was it was pretty cool to see. And I
yeah, and
mean,
that's my song too. Yeah, this is my country. Yeah.
yeah, that was a great tune and a
Oh,
really
thanks.
rocking tune where I see you more. I liked Lowdown, don't get me wrong, it was a very different style. I mean, I love Chicago in the 80s too, although now I
Yep.
like more their 70s and 60s stuff now
Yeah.
as I age. And so hearing you in 1990 rock like that. So what happened to Doug Varty Band? I know early 1990s is where rock kind of faded to the abyss and alternative
Well,
stuff came.
yeah. I mean, I started it while I was still in Lowdown, and then Lowdown just started to peter out, not in any real bad way. And I wanted to do more rock stuff, and I got my own band together, and we would go out and play dates whenever Lowdown wasn't playing. Um, and I started writing. I still have a bunch of material that I haven't posted on YouTube and that. Like we did a self-released album and whatnot. Anyway, I'm off the topic probably. But what happened with Doug Vardy Band was we were regionally popular. We weren't really traveling or anything, and I wasn't really looking to do that. By that time in my life, I was 35, 38 years old. I have four kids, and I was making money actually working as a musician, which was pretty great. And I didn't want to jeopardize any of the things that I was doing by being away from my family, touring, doing the things that you really kind of have to do. You got to go out and grind it out for pennies on the road to get people to know you, to build your brand. And I just wasn't in the place to do that anymore. Had I been 21 or something, it would have been fine, unattached, blah blah blah. So we just continued on as Doug Vardy Band. We continued to play. Wow. And I mostly just played bars and that kind of thing. And then I joined, I know what happened to Doug Vardy Band. Sorry. There's a lot of years in there.
No, no
Um,
doubt.
yeah, around 1992, I got signed by Gil Moore of Triumph at Metalworks Studios. I signed a production deal with him to make a record. Uh, we ended up doing it at Metalworks. Terry Brown, who produced all the Rush albums, Terry produced that album, and I guess it was me that thought, Doug Varty Band isn't a very exciting name. Let's think of another name. So I called it Bush Doctors. We put out a Bush Doctors album with none of the original guys from my band, which was, again, my idea to change everybody in the band. I don't think it was a great idea, but you have to live with your bad decisions as well as your good ones. And that record came out and we just couldn't get arrested with it. It was a really good rock record, but it was right around the time of, grunge and Seattle kind of Guns N' Roses. And mine was just a little too 70s Foreigner, Bad Company kind of influence for record companies. They just went, well, we don't want that. So we pretty much got nowhere with that record. And then everything fell apart because they didn't really have a real band at that point. I had a lot of session guys who were playing with me when we had a gig. And then I joined a blues band, a local blues band in London, and I played 5 nights a week with this blues band called the Old Chicago Band at a bar called Old Chicago's for the next 9 years of my life.